article. We lost a potential great crossover because of live service games. Recently, it was revealed that Activision canceled a Crash Bandicoot and Spyro team up game, which is fucking insane
Yeah,
to even
that would have been
think
a
about,
banger.
bro.
Can you
I
put
think
this
that was
photo on the screen, Cash? Just the photo alone. Just like the graphic arts got me interested. It's so
yeah, the
cool.
graphics look sick. I can't
Yeah.
find the art though.
This
But
shit's a
yeah,
fucking like, dude. I am all right. So I am so red hot on like platforming characters. Like I'm a huge Mario fan. I'm a huge Sonic fan. Kirby.
right.
I love all the PS2 platformers like Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, Spyro, Crash. All of that stuff is all encompassed. And Astro Bot is like my most anticipated game of the year, coming out in a couple days. And I am red hot on Toys for Bob as a developer, and I don't know what this like means, but watching what Toys for Bob went through in the last 6 years and where they're at right now is absolutely miserable, but also like gives me a lot of hope, because this company was doing so well with like rejuvenating both of those franchises, where they
Facts.
went and
I
they
agree.
made the Insane trilogy, and it was so good, and they were off the heels of Skylanders, which, say what you will about those franchise, those were sound games that were actually bringing in a lot of money for Activision. And even though Toys to Life kind of ran its course, like those are well designed video games for the most part. That company has like a lot going for it, the developers. And then they do the Insane trilogy, it's a huge success, and it leads to Crash Bandicoot 4, and then they do the Reignite trilogy, and all signs point to that does well. Let's do Spyro 4. No, how about you're a support studio for Call of fucking Duty, which is what they pulled that team off to do.
Can I
It's
read
the craziest thing ever.
Bro, that's what they did with Ravensoft, bro. Ravensoft that made so many amazing fucking games. They made X-Men Legends. X-Men Legends 1 and 2, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, fucking Wolverine. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I did a full playthrough that
I did too, because I was doing a retrospective. I did a retrospective video about X-Men Origin Wolverine, and the game didn't lose a beat. The game is still phenomenal, and this is why I also said that this Insomniac game has to be very similar to this Wolverine game. It has to be. I don't see how they can really like diverge from this particular, because it's the quintessential Wolverine experience. The fact that when he whenever he gets damaged, he can heal. You can see his adamantium bones like heal, bro. That is insane, bro. That is nuts, bro. His face can blow off Heartless, and you see it heal in real time.
Put some footage on the screen.
I'm gonna put my video.
I'm gonna read an expert here from this article about this canceled game. You brought up Crash 4, Jake. So Activision deemed Crash Bandicoot 4 it's about time of a failure, even though it sold over 5 million copies. It said it was underwhelming. That's crazy. 5 million copies sold of a platformer, and that is poor sales.
It's because the Nicki Minaj skin in Warzone made more money than like that game entirely.
Just shows Activision looks things through these lenses of not
only Activision. I feel like a lot of companies do that.
A lot of people. I am so. Where did you guys stand? This is a can of fucking worms. Like, can I just get like one word or like just like a show of hands, like sideways, thumbs down, or thumbs up? Activision Blizzard getting acquired by Microsoft. Show.
I'm sideways on this.
Wow. Here's why I'm sideways, up, dude. These fuckers lost their way. I'm excited for that IP to be under Xbox.
I think it has something to do with
I'm sideways. I'm sideways, and here's why I'm sideways about this situation. I haven't really seen anything from Microsoft and Activision just yet to then say, you know what, I'm fully on board. So I'm still. This is more of like undecided. I'm undecided. So once I start to see
Xbox on Game Pass. I mean, because Call of Duty's on Xbox Game Pass.
For me,
Call of Duty's on Game Pass, but one of the things that I've heard recently was the fact that they're trying to reacquire licensing for the old Marvel game. So like the Deadpool game that was fucking dope, the Wolverine game that was dope, Legends, all of those. They're trying to reacquire the licensing for those, because Activision lost the license for those games, and now Microsoft is looking to bring them back because of the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, which would be fucking amazing. So if they can pull that off, I think I'd be fully like two thumbs up.
For me, I look at it from a sort of monopolization of the industry perspective. Those are two big companies working together, owning each other, that I'm not on board with. They're just too big.
Here's my video, guys. Here's my video. And if you guys want to check out the video, guys, go check out this video. It's youtube.com/cashcrow. What? Go ahead, Maury. Go ahead.
Dope. No, I'm so sorry because Jake definitely said that we could give one-word answers, but I just have to. I have to go. You have to let me run wild. The reason why Xbox will be the next Sega is because they acquired Activision Blizzard, and the reason why Sony will not have any competition in 10 years for consoles and things of that nature is because Xbox acquired Activision Blizzard. I think that in 10 years we will all agree that it was one of the worst things that ever happened in the industry, not because it was too big of a company and not because Xbox didn't have like the right to purchase it, but solely because of the fact that that amount of money being spent on that has caused Microsoft to look so much more closely at Xbox, and that's why all their titles are coming to PlayStation, and it's why they're going to become third party within a decade. But that's all.
I think it's definitely valid, but as long as it results in like things like this, righting the wrong of this, like Spyro.
Sure. Look at this shit. Look at this shit for a second. I want to pick up So remember what I just told you guys a story about my mom turning off my thing. I actually talked about it in the video, and then I had an illustration of that being
memory card teardrop
about the memory card. But I want you guys to see how many games Activision worked on before they fucking got absorbed by Ravensoft, before they got absorbed by Activision to make nothing but Call of Duty.
Yeah.
How many games that were just now?
You could say the same.
Is it paying off for them though?
They used to work on Spider-Man too.
It? I don't know. Like the studio essentially doesn't exist anymore. Ravensoft doesn't really exist anymore, really. Do they? Like, have we seen anything from Ravensoft?
Not outside of Call of Duty.
I think they're a Call of Duty support studio.
No, that's all they are.
Just make assets for Call of Duty and stuff, and like they manage.
They just work on the game. They just work on.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why I put the thumbs down, because I think it's just. I don't like the monopolization of all these different IPs and different things. I just don't like it.
Hold up. Let's not forget that Activision also is the reason why we have an open world Spider-Man game. Sorry to cut you off, Jerem.
Yeah.
They're the reasons why we have an open world Spider-Man game.
I mean, let's be real.
What?
Just because they were the first to do it doesn't mean that they would have been the only ones to do it. Whether or not Activision did it or not, somebody else would have made an open world Spider-Man. Spider-Man was born to be an open world game.
Not to most people, because how long did it take them before they did something like that?
I mean, Carlos is right here. Someone would have. It's not like a once in a lifetime idea. Like someone would have.
Even the earliest game was. You were zipping around the city. Yeah, you couldn't touch the ground, but we all knew if we were forward thinkers, we knew the future of this was okay. Well, next we'll be able to touch the ground, and next the city's gonna get bigger and bigger. Spider-Man was nothing.
It's just
even
reasonable
the
progression
of this shit was crazy.
That is the reasonable progression of a Spider-Man type game.
It's a reasonable progression of any game, really, if you think about it. They did the same to Mario and Mario Odyssey, or Mario 64. So, it's just the progression.
Deadpool? What was that?
Yeah, that was Deadpool.
Deadpool, right?
That abomination was Deadpool. Yes. Well, what should?
And that's Will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas.
Yes.
Yeah, crazy.
Supposedly Nightcrawler's dead in this universe. Really?
I haven't seen any of the Deadpool movies.
You're bugging. You need to
watch
The first one's better.
Mystique.
Yes, he did, and that's Oliver Trask, apparently, for some reason.
But this game was dope, and
this game is one of the best Wolverine games.
Nah. What did I just see? Hold on.
What?
They forgot about physics. The bridge broke, and he was still running up the bridge.
he shoots claws out of his hands, and you're worried about physics.
The last thing this game was worried about was physics. I promise you that.
Crazy.
Heartless, you play a game where people shoot fireballs out their hands, and you're worried about physics,
bro. No. He cannot fly,
bro. Even
my god,
even his tank top, bro. His tank top. If you got too much damage, his tank top pretty much got shredded off of him, bro. So when you heal back, that tank top is
he
gone.
struck some guy's head in a helicopter propeller.
Heartless,
yes, he did.
Yoga doesn't give you really stretchy limbs. Sorry,
bro. This game is nuts. Trust me. This game was fucking insane. 10. Yeah. Oh yeah. Solid.
Finish my thought on like the Spyro thing, and I'll bring us like all the way back in reverse and get there. But like places like this that got absorbed, like Ravensoft was so good, dude. They were making such like cool, unique, and like taking chances on games is the same thing that was happening with Toys for Bob. And this is like what Activision is super guilty of over the past decade, was basically just like funneling everything into what makes them the most money as opposed to what gains them favor with gamers, and calling things like a financial failure or the game a failure because it didn't make as much money as what a skin can make in Call of Duty doesn't mean that those things couldn't be embraced. And it does seem like Xbox is starting to understand that, and they're starting to put games first and focusing on their software. And regardless of what the acquisition means for the industry going forward, as far as like competition goes with like the console wars and things of that nature, I feel like it puts IP back under a roof where they care about like making games in franchises that gamers want to see. Like, say what you will about the current state of Xbox, but the next 5 years does look pretty fucking good as far as software goes, which is exciting. And things got so bad for Toys for Bob that they have one of the most unique stories in fucking games. As soon as that acquisition went through, it seems like, for all intents and purposes, they were so like traumatized by what happened to their development cycle on, I'm assuming, this canceled game, and then being pulled off of it to work on Call of Duty, that they said, we don't even want to be under the Activision or Microsoft umbrella. We want to buy ourselves out of this and go back to being independent. And if you want to work with us, you can. And they said, like, props to Phil Spencer. And I pitch whenever I can, please go watch Double Fine's 33 episode masterpiece documentary.
Yeah.
You have to see this, because you do get a behind the scenes look of how these people operate, and like they care about video games. Like Phil Spencer and Rebecca Bond and like all Sarah Bond and all of those people, like really Matt Booty included, they do care about games and care about people that are creating games. And it might not always come off the right way, but they basically let these people out of like a brand new acquisition and contract so that they could go back to being indie developers, and then immediately, from what it looks like, signed a contract with them as a third-party studio to develop a first-party game, which seems to be they literally said in the press release, like, keep your horns ready or whatever. Like, it looks like they're going to be working on Spyro for Microsoft, just under an umbrella that protects them from getting like fucking bastardized the way that Activision did them dirty for the last decade, which is fucking sick.
And
like, I think it's one of the coolest stories in video games over the last couple of years.
And what I say to that as well is Microsoft is well known to be working with they work with a lot of independent studios. A lot of them. Think about even within the 360 era. You remember you used to have ID at Xbox? That used to be a thing. That used to be a very big thing for Xbox. So
the whole Xbox Live Arcade initiative back in like 2006 with like all of those releases. So cool.
Isn't it interesting that we are talking about Crash Bandicoot as sort of like an Xbox sort of property, when
it's crazy.
Remember back in the day, retro days, it was known as a PlayStation. You thought Crash, you thought PlayStation. It's interesting how that switched, right?
All about licensing. All about licensing, bro. That's all it comes down to at the end of the day.
In the future, everything's going to be available on every console. And I firmly believe in the future, you're just going to buy a TV and you can play games on that TV.
Yeah, we'll be playing Xbox Game Pass on our PlayStation 5s within the next 3 years.
Possibly. I can see that.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I can see it. I could definitely see that. No question.
It does allude here, what you were saying, Jake, alluding to what you were saying, Jake. yeah, they were. They made a deal with Xbox, Toys for Bob's did, to develop a brand new game. And the last sentence of this article, it says a different shaped follow-up to Crash or Spyro is definitely not possible then. If I'm reading that sentence correctly, that means the new game is not a Spyro Crash game. Is that right?
You just don't know.
Yeah.
Until they make an announcement, you won't know.
Yeah.
They also Xbox is also teaming up with 100 Star Studios, and if you guys know about who 100 Star Studios is, they're basically the OG Rocksteady. They are the guys that left Rocksteady, which is can't remember his name, Safton Hill and Jamie
Sounds
Warner, right? They left and they made another studio from people across the industry and a bunch of like OGs from Rocksteady to start 100 Star Studios, and they're now working on a AAA game for Xbox. So there's also that.
Yeah, this term AAA, I don't know. It doesn't even mean anything anymore.
No. When it comes to certain studios, I tend to like.
We're in a quadruple A world.
Right. You need to step your game up, guys.
Perfect.
It's just like yo, a game can be AAA, but a 1 out of 5. It's like that's crazy.